Okay, hey, hope everybody's doing great. This is an HP LaserJet CP5525 DN. DN stands for it prints on both sides. And one of the issues that that it's having is it's having a I think it's a 59.00.F0 error. And you can pretty much get the service manual to these online, and to show you how to take it apart and stuff, because you do have to remove a lot of stuff to get to this guy right here. All right, this solenoid. So what's happening is this solenoid. Let me see if I can move in a little bit closer. There are some videos online that do a good job on how to take it apart. This is at work, so I'm kind of fixing it here at work. But what happens is, and I hope you all can see that. It's kind of hard for me to see. Let me see if I can move it this way. Yeah, okay. Let me grab this guy. All right, so. I'm not going to pull this out. What a lot of guys do is they actually take and disconnect it and clean this on the outside. But let's see if I can do that. So what's happening is there's a little sponge right here, and that little sponge with time. And this thing, I think they bought it for me, and this is my classroom. I teach computer-aided drafting, robotics 2, electronics. And a principles of applied engineering course. So and so this printer is for my drafting guys. For the students basically. But anyway, so what's happening in this guy is this little sponge here, with time, right? And again, I think they bought this for me like in 2010 or something like that. So it's a really old old printer. I mean, but it's still working really well, except for this issue. And what happens is when this guy clicks, what's happened with time is the little sticky behind the sponge is now getting on this side, and this thing sticks for just, I mean, for a split second, and it causes that error that I said. I think it's F59.00.FO or something like that. And if you look it up in the manual, it tells you, oh, it's a transfer belt. The transfer belt it goes right in here, and the transfer belt is that's what transfers all the toner to the paper, right? So you have the drum, and you have the toner, and this has it has yellow, magenta, cyan, and black, and so all that gets transferred from the drum, the toner, onto the transfer belt. Then the transfer belt puts it on the paper. Then the fuser, which is right about right here, that fuses all that, whatever it is you're printing, it fuses it and then spits it out. Or if you're printing both sides, it takes it back in and does the back. Okay. Anyway, so what's happening here is you got to clean this guy. You got to take it off. So I'm gonna take it off with a utility knife. I'm just gonna scratch it off. I'm gonna cover this so I don't get none of that stuff down in there. And then this one guy had an ingenious fix, and so what he got was this heat shrink. And what you do is, and I happen to have heat shrink because I teach electronics and stuff, so I have all that. And what you do is you put the heat shrink over this after you've cleaned it. Put it on there really nice. You heat it up with the gun. See if y'all can see that a little bit better. And by this time you've cleaned off the glue and stuff off the side also. Okay. And I don't know if you can see, but there is a tad bit of that sponge over here on this side, and it feels kind of sticky. Anyway, so you heat that down, and that pretty much it ends up fixing the issue. So, what do they say? Because I do watch a lot of car Ivan from Pine Hollow, and he goes, "Hey, no parts required." Well, okay, a part. You know, I don't know. To get this size heat shrink, you'd have to buy I don't know. I guess you could go buy something this wide at Home Depot or Lowe's or some of the car places like Advance and stuff, which none of them are sponsors of this video, but anyway, and you could find some of this stuff. Now, one other guy, what he did is he just cleaned it really well, and he put what looked like some tape on this. And I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose because the tape does have some sticky behind it. To me, it looked like he was using gaffer's tape. Gaffer's tape, I don't know if y'all know, it's pretty thick, and that's what they use in the industry, sound industry, when they're marking their soundboards and they're writing, the mics and all that stuff. Now, one thing I need to tell y'all is getting this guy out is tough because this guy, which goes right here, okay, it goes behind this guy, right? And then there's this little, I don't know if it's hard to see, but there's a little thing that this has to go underneath this part right here. Has to go underneath here, and then there's a little holder there and holds this. So what I've done is I've loosened this whole thing right here, just ever so slightly. Okay, they don't show you that in the manual. The manual shows you how to take everything else off. I mean, you got to remove a whole bunch of stuff. You got to remove the top and all that. I can't remember where it starts. So one thing I do is I take pictures, and that way, in case I'm like, okay, how did this get routed, right? So I take the pictures, I go look at it, so okay, it's routed behind this and stuff, because you don't want to put all this back and then something get caught, and then you totally ruin a gear or something, and then that's it. You're going to ruin the device. Yeah, there's another board you have to pull off also, and again, the manuals, which is online, you can get it. Let me see if I can show y'all. So this is how it starts, and again, I just got this, and I printed out how you got to go about, what you do first, what you do second, and these are double-sided. Okay, and I don't know if you know the color difference, and that's what starts happening with this error, and then eventually it just stops printing. And so then this is the next couple of things you got to take off, and then it's the next couple of things you got to take off, and then you got to take off this. I don't even know what they call. Oh, this is backwards. Let me see if I can get this right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got to remove a whole bunch of stuff. Oop. Let's see. Yeah, so then it's this, and it goes through a couple of the deals that you got to take that off, which it is. It's off right here, and I'm just leaving it hanging there. There's two guys online. One guy, I don't know, where he's from. To understand him, I had to copy the transcript and then put it into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to translate it for me. And so I said, okay, I see what he's doing. The other guy, the guy that I translated in ChatGPT, he had a printer exactly like this one. And there was a couple of steps he left out, and I'm like, okay, I got to figure out what's going on. Anyway, and then there's another guy who's doing something very similar to this. It's a different. It's not a 5525. It's a different one. It's like an M750 or I don't know, something like that. But it's still an HP, and it still has the same issue with this guy, and it's a little bit different than this one. But anyway, bottom line, and then finally, this guy gets into, where you're removing this. There's a board that goes, or not a board, it's a plastic cover that goes over this. And then, let me see. And so there you're removing that. Then you're removing this guy. You definitely got to remove that board to get to this. And then finally, they're telling you to be real careful with this guy right here, which is, let me see if I can show you. I've been real careful not to, which is that guy right there, because it's real loose, and it can come off there. So you just got to be careful. And I'm just leaving that hanging there. Okay. Now the reason why you want to pull this off, why I'm doing it, is because this guy right here, you really have to pull this straight forward. On the videos online, and I'll try to put that in the description when I do this video. He's like manhandling it and you know, taking it out and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I hate to do that. You don't want to force anything. If you're going to force something, you probably can force something like this, as long as there's nothing here that's being aligned with anything else, like critically aligned. You know, you can loosen stuff and then you know, take this out, and it just makes your job a lot easier. Other things I do is there's screws, you know, that when I pull off the screws, I have little baggies, and I don't know if y'all can see, so I put the screws in there and I tape it, so I know that these screws go with this. That's how I keep the screws with every single little thing I pull out. If I don't have enough baggies, I start putting the screws back where I know that I know something has to go there. There's a screw. Same thing over here. You know, I'll put the screws back in there, and I know, okay, I know where those screws go. So anyway, just wanted to make this video and just show y'all. I mean, this is the guy. It sticks. Like, I can feel it sticking right there. Just do it. See that? Look. Y'all see that? It shouldn't do that. It should come as soon as I let go. As soon as I let go, it should let go. See that? And that right there is what's hindering this whole printer. Yeah, basically what happens, you get the error, it stops, and it'll get the error, tells you, and it says turn off unit. You turn it off, and then you turn it back on. It goes through the whole recycling, you know, whatever, preparing itself, and then it might print 2 or 3, and then it just stops. And this has been going on already for probably about a good month. And so hopefully once I get it finished, what's today? Today's November 11th. Yeah, November 11th, 2024. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. This is my prep time. We got a meeting right now at 8:15. I'm gonna have to get going. So this is probably not gonna get done till first, second period, third period I'm off. So I'm hoping to have this done by third period, and hopefully I don't have any issues and stuff. One of the guys was mentioning that when you put this back, that something has to be aligned over here. I don't know. It doesn't say anything about that here. Let me see. It doesn't really say anything about that here, about having to align things back up. So I don't know. Well, you know, I'll find out. The one guy, the one video of the guy that I didn't understand the language, he just kind of put it back together, and then he's turning it on and stuff. And in the and in the transcript when I was reading it, he didn't mention anything about having to realign it. This guy goes right in here, and this is the gear. That's the gear that this guy, that little guy, that end right there. Okay. This end right here, that guy, is going underneath. Let me see if I can do it with this. It's going right underneath here somewhere. Right underneath, right here. And I think right underneath here somewhere. Hope y'all can see that. Okay. All right. Great printer. Like I said, it's lasted 10 years. Of course, it doesn't get really abused. It's all for my students and stuff. Yeah, I do print some stuff for my stuff for the classes and all that. If I'm doing, you know, if it's a handout that's like, I don't know, 40 pages that or rather it's for 40 students, and it has, 3 or 4 pages. I send it to the big Xerox machines that we have that are just black and white. But for the most part, if a student comes in and says, "Hey, sir, I got to print something for my class. It's a research paper. Go for it." They jump on my machines here and they print it out. So HP still making some decent stuff, but I will say the toners for these are pretty outrageous. They're about $300 a piece. It takes 4 of them. Typically, the black wears out first. There's a way to refill them and stuff, and I want to say I did a video on that, and I'll have to get it and put it up there, and stuff. So you can refill them and get some little more life out of them. And I think I paid for the black one, and I paid it out of my own money just to see if I could do it. I think it was like $40 for the toner, and they explained how to do it, and it was really easy, and that's what's going on right now. But all right, I'm gonna stop there, and hope hope it works. All right, we'll see y'all. Have a great one. Okay, by the way, I didn't say how you clean it. I'm gonna scratch it off, whatever I can take off with this guy. Then I'm gonna take some either denatured alcohol and clean that really well on this side and the other side. Just make sure there's none of that sticky stuff on there. That's basically how I'm gonna do it. Some denatured alcohol. You could use, I know this is gonna sound weird, but some of that disinfectant spray, there's some alcohol in that, and you just put it on a Q-tip, and man, it removes gummy stuff really. Or you can use the oh god, what's that stuff? I can't remember the name, but it's stuff to remove gummy. I can see the bottle, I can't remember the name. Anyway, so that's basically how I'm gonna clean that. Okay, all right, see you guys. Okay, so I've already cleaned off the old sponge, and that's how much sponge comes off the solenoid right there. So kind of put this paper there, I taped it down back here and cleaned it right there, without having to unplug it. Okay, so put it all back together, and everything is turned on. Now it's just a matter of printing. Someone was suggesting that solenoid, the way it was engaged into the gear and all that it had to go a specific way. I don't know. I didn't necessarily. I just put it back. The gears, yeah, I kind of messed with the gears, but there's no, there was no right or wrong way to put it in, and I guess the truth will be if I print something out. So let me see if I can print something out real quick. Otherwise, that's an issue. I'm gonna have to reset the IP or get a new one. Sides, okay. All right, it's sending it to it. Please, there it is. I didn't have any screws left over, so sometimes it jams because the room is so darn cold. All right, cool. All right, let me check something out here real quick. All right, I have it printed on grayscale. Let's see if it'll do the color now. So there it is. It seems to be working. So time will tell. It's like I said earlier. This thing, I think they got it for me School paid for it back in 2010. And the fuser, I did have to replace the fuser. It did get dropped when I'm replacing paper on tray 2. It makes this grinding noise, and that, you know, because I was in at another building, and they brought it here to this building, and I noticed that they had dropped it from the back somewhere. And anyway, but it's been decent, man. I mean, you know, HP. Assuming they still make some good stuff. Yeah, man, proof is in the pudding. It's working right now. I know I don't know if y'all can see there's like a stripe there. The transfer belt and the cleaner in the transfer belt probably need to be replaced. The whole transfer belt kit's about $350. I doubt the school's going to pay for it. Right now they're in a budget crunch, and if you just buy the cleaner on AliExpress, you can buy that cleaner part to the transfer belt unit, and it's like $40-something, and then the transfer belt itself is $90, something like that. Because the rest of the unit's still good, and there's a way to take it off and stuff. So, all right, man. I hope this video works. I didn't show how to heat shrink. I just have I put the heat shrink on the solenoid part. I did clean it off with some alcohol and ethylene alcohol and stuff. Got the gummy stuff off. Put the heat shrink on it, and I have a heat gun. Heated it. You got to be careful. Don't heat it too hard or too long. Put it all back together, and there it is. It's working. Alrighty. I'll hopefully when I do the video, I'll put on there the other 2 videos from the other 2 guys. You know, in the description, I'll put them in there. That way you guys can go look at them and stuff. All right. Another hopefully successful repair. No parts required. Later. Have a good one.